A city hides its secrets in places built for celebration. In Pompeii, the walls still speak if you know how to listen. Behind bright frescoes and cheerful courtyards were private rooms, coded symbols, and glances exchanged at dusk. The lovers of this city moved like shadows between light and ash, and when the mountain roared, their stories froze in time. Tonight we read them for what they were, maps of desire and lessons in secrecy. I am David, your guide. Walk with me down a stone street warm from the sun. At a doorway hangs a small bronze charm. It is not scandal. It is a sign of prosperity and fertility, a wink to those who read the city like a code. Pompeii was practical about desire. It placed it in art, in amulets, and in rooms shaped for conversation and light. Consider the house of the Vetii. Its walls shimmer with scenes of lovers and power games. Imagine a dinner where the host steers. Talk toward myth. He lets the room do the work. The lesson is simple. Create an atmosphere that speaks before you do. Attraction begins with setting. A doorway that slows the step. A couch angled for talk rather than display. Those choices carve privacy inside a public house. Just beyond the forum, a bakery faces a narrow alley. At daybreak, a woman crosses with a basket, yet her path meets a certain corner each morning within the same quiet minute. That is not an accident, it is a ritual. When routine and timing converge, curiosity ripens into chemistry. Notice how desire grows when you let a pattern form and do not name it too soon. The city wrote its bolder confessions on plaster. Graffiti lists pet names, teasing boasts, and rough poetry. We think of graffiti as noise. Here it worked as a signal. A lover could promise return in a hand only one person would recognize. A rival could test boundaries with a riddle. And here is the intriguing part most people miss. Secrecy was not silence. Secrecy was choreography. Lovers hid in plain sight by directing attention elsewhere. Step into a small garden with a shrine to the household gods. Two figures sit on a bench with a platter of figs. The man's sandals rest on the ground. The woman's are still on her feet. She will decide whether the afternoon continues. Pompeii teaches an unromantic truth that is also tender. Power is attractive when it is shared and when the choice remains visible. Speak like an equal. Let pause do part of the talking. Not every story was gentle. A brothel on a back street displays small paintings above each cubicle. They are not decoration alone. They are a menu and a map that manage expectation and limit negotiation. A lesson echoes for modern couples. Clarity can be kind. Declared boundaries remove confusion and leave room for playfulness. Now picture the amphitheater at twilight, after the crowd has dispersed. Two figures pass beneath the arches in opposite directions and then circle back. They exchange nothing more than a question and a promise to meet after the next games. Desire thrives when risk has a purpose and safety a plan. Yet the real secret to this mystery lies elsewhere. The most irresistible encounters were constructed with intention long before any meeting took place. One last room. A bedchamber painted with deep red luster, a small chest with perfumes, a bronze mirror catching a blade of light. On the wall, a scene of Aphrodite caught between laughter and decision. A couple enters. They set a rule. If one says the word home, they will stop and hold each other until the breath slows. In that single rule lives the heart of Pompeii's forbidden desires. Passion with a fail-safe, secrecy with care. When the ash began to fall, lovers clung to one another in courtyards and on thresholds. What survived were outlines and objects. What survives for us are the patterns. Build rooms that speak for you. Let timing do half the seduction. Share power. Make rules that protect the flame rather than smother it. The mountain buried a city, but it also kept its lessons bright enough to read. In Pompeii, passion was both public and private, a paradox etched into the city's very walls. Frescoes in taverns depicted mythic romances that blurred the line between entertainment and instruction. A traveler arriving here might mistake this openness for chaos, but there was structure in the sensuality. Desire was acknowledged, ritualized, and then hidden again. That dance between display and discretion was the secret rhythm of the city. Imagine a quiet tryst at dusk. A couple slips behind the colonnades of a villa courtyard. The air smells of bread still warm from the ovens. Voices carry from nearby streets. But within the courtyard, there is only silence broken by footsteps on stone. Their meeting is fleeting, perhaps only minutes long. And yet, in its brevity, it carries an intensity that lingers for days. Modern psychology agrees. When anticipation outweighs fulfillment, attraction deepens. Pompeians seem to understand this instinctively. But what unfolded next was truly unexpected. Archaeologists uncovered wax tablets detailing legal disputes over love affairs, evidence that passion had consequences. Some affairs brought scandal, property losses, or broken alliances. And here lies a lesson still sharp today. Secrecy can heighten attraction, but secrecy also sharpens risk. Love without honesty is fragile. One of the most intriguing discoveries was the Garden of the Fugitives, where plaster casts preserve the final embraces of Pompeians caught by the eruption. Among them are pairs whose closeness suggests bonds beyond duty. Lovers who chose to cling to one another at the end. Their frozen outlines remind us that passion, though hidden, was real and deeply human. Here's the intriguing part most people miss. Pompeii's lovers were not simply indulging in pleasure. They were navigating identity, power, and belonging. To be desired was to be validated, to be chosen. And to choose secrecy was to create a private world where attraction could thrive without judgment. For us, these stories remind us that attraction is rarely just about beauty. It is about timing, setting, shared risk, and above all, intention. Whether through a message etched on plaster or a glance across a courtyard, Pompeii's people remind us that desire is not random. It is carefully cultivated. So, what can we learn from these forbidden loves? That passion thrives when it is nurtured with ritual. That anticipation can be as intoxicating as fulfillment. That power, shared equally, can transform intimacy into something magnetic. And that secrecy, while dangerous, can make desire unforgettable. The mountain buried Pompeii beneath ash and stone, but it also preserved these lessons for us to uncover. The city's hidden romances whisper across time. Passion, when woven with mystery, becomes irresistible. And perhaps the greatest truth of all, love, even when forbidden, leaves an imprint stronger than fire, stronger than stone, strong enough to outlast centuries.